Welcome to Ed Sceery's High Country Outdoor Classroom. Besides having a doctorate degree in animal science, Ed has over 30 years of hunting and research experience with elk and other wild and domestic animals. He has worked at several universities, the U.S. Forest Service, and for the New Mexico Department of Game and Fish. He has been president and owner of the Sceery Game Call Company for the past 18 years. Now let's join Ed in the high country of the Rocky Mountains.
Hi, I'm Ed Sceery. I guess you can tell we're back up here in the Rocky Mountains this morning, and I'm going to talk to you a little about how to use my ACE line of elk calls. Now, ACE stands for Armored Camo Elk. Now, these are armored camo calls that I designed and patented a number of years ago. We make the ACE line of elk calls available individually, or we put them together as a complete kit with a video and lanyards. This line of ACE elk calls includes the ACE 1 Special Elk Call, the ACE 2 Bull Coaxer that we call the Seducer, and the ACE 3, our original Hyper Cow and Heat Call. Because these calls have proven to be so effective over the years, you may see copies of them on the market. You should know that the Sceery ACE line of elk calls are the original elk calls that I designed and patented in 1990. Both elk bugling sounds and cow talking sounds are used to call elk while hunting. But what we've found over the years is that the elk talking sounds that you can make with the ACE 1, the ACE 2, and the ACE 3 are much more effective for attracting bulls to your position than our bugling sounds. Let's listen to some elk sounds that I recorded while conducting some of my elk vocalization research. Watch this short clip of a broken tine bull I called up late one evening last fall. Now, this was one of several bulls I called that evening within about 30 minutes with the ACE elk calls. Now, this is another bull that I called up within just a few minutes with the ACE 2 Seducer call. These three Sceery ACE calls were designed to make the high-pitched elk talking sounds that are very effective for calling elk or attracting elk to your position for hunting or photography. The basic element in using cow talk type of elk calls is the pitch of the sound, and when you make these sounds, you need to make them go from high to low pitch at a steady rate. That's a key to using cow talk type of elk calls. Whether you're using the ACE 1, the ACE 2 Seducer, or the ACE 3 Cow and Heat Call, you need to make sure that the sounds you produce are going from high to low pitch at a steady rate. The idea is for you to imitate the natural sounds that elk use to call each other. These cow elk or elk talking sounds are effective for attracting elk to your position throughout the year, but they're particularly effective just prior to and during the rut. The first call I want to talk to you about is the ACE 1 Special Elk Call. Now, I want to remind you that the sounds that these calls make are the elk talking or cow talking sounds. And the basics, or the basic thing that you need to know, is that the sounds to work properly have to go from high to low pitch. Now, the ACE 1 call, the big advantage of the ACE 1 call is that it's a loud call and that you can make different cow talking sounds. As an example, you can make cow talking sounds and calf talking sounds. They all go from high to low pitch. Let me show you how to make a cow talking sound. Goes from high to low pitch. And what I do is I bite on this call till I have comfortably closed the mouthpiece over the reed. I don't bite too hard, and I keep a steady bite on it. I don't change my bite. I just change how much air I blow through it. Make a higher pitch sound like a calf elk. Low pitch for a cow. High pitch for a calf. You'll find these calls work very good for you. Let me take this apart and show you how simply they're made. You can pop off this rubber cover off the mouthpiece here. Back and forth motion. Take the call apart where you can show the reed. Clean it off if you need to clean it off. Dry it off. One thing about these calls you need to be aware of is there's a very thin vibrating mylar reed, so it's really important that you keep it dry. It's that quick to take apart, clean, dry off, and put back together. Just like that. If you ever damage any of these mylar reeds while you're hunting, you can replace them that quickly with a new reed. Or if you don't have any replacement reeds available to you, all you have to do is take the reed out, stick it in a cup of hot water, hot coffee if you're at elk camp, and lay it on a flat surface and it'll straighten it back out. So that's how you maintain the reeds in these calls. Now let's take a minute and watch how this bull responds to an Ace 1 special elk call. Now I designed this Ace 2 call to be used hands-free, and you don't have to bite on the call to change the pitch. We designed it so the proper sounds are built into it. All you have to do is blow lightly on this cow call to get the proper cow call sounds. Let me show you that. Now it's not biting on the call at all. You can use this while you're using your rifle at the same time. Let me show you that. So what we do is we keep it in the corner of our mouth. You line your scope up on a bull, you coax the bull in a few feet, and you stop him with this call to make a good clean shot. When you're ready to shoot, stop the bull. When he stops, take your shot. Now you can do the same thing with a bow. Those of you bow hunters should be aware that you can draw your bow and take a shot at a bull and still use this call at the same time. Let me demonstrate that for you. So when you get a bull in close, you coax him a few feet in, draw your bow. When you're ready to take your shot, stop the bull and take your shot. With this hands-free coaxer, the Ace 2 Seducer should come in pretty handy for you elk hunters. Now let's see how to call a bull and get a bull to stop for a good clean shot with the Ace 2 Seducer call. Okay, the last call I want to talk to you about is my Ace 3 Hyper Cow and Heat call. Now, I designed this in 1988, and we got a patent on this call in 1990. This is a exposed reed call. The reed's exposed in the open, so it's important for you to careful not to bend it. So you have to provide some protection to the reed. If you bend the mylar reed like I've already mentioned, all you have to do is take the caul apart, dip the reed in hot water, it'll straighten it out. Or you can carry extra reeds that you can order from the Sceery Game Caul Company. Now this caul, you work by blowing through the caul and changing the position of your teeth or your lips on the reed, which essentially shortens or lengthens the working part of the vibrating part of the reed. It's a very simple caul to use. Let me demonstrate how you make the cow-talking sounds with this caul. Going from high to low. What I do is I move it slightly into my mouth when I call, and I rotate the caul. Now you can do it upright like this, using your top teeth, or you can flip it over and use your bottom lip and teeth, whichever you're more comfortable with. Now one advantage of this caul is if you get it wet, you can just flip it over and dry it off on your sleeve. Rub it with your fingers just to clean the moisture that builds up on the reed, just to clean it and dry it off. So that's one of the advantages of this caul. So if you want to use this repeatedly over and over, like a cow, elk, and heat calling a bull, you can do that without worrying about it sticking up on you, or you can dry it off real quick and continue to use it. Now I want you to check out and see how this bull responds to the Ace 3 Hyper Cow and Heat caul. For those of you who would like to learn more about elk hunting in the Rocky Mountains, I'd suggest you take a look at my new video, The Science of Hunting Elk. I've also produced a video that we call Elk Language and Communication, that's basically a summary of the elk research I've done on how elk communicate and how you can be a much better elk caller with your bugles and your cow calls. Well, I hope some of the tips I've given you will help you in using your Ace line of Sceery elk calls. I'm sure you're going to find the Ace elk calls very effective for calling elk. Before I go, I want to remind you to respect the rights of private property owners, follow your local game laws, be a good sportsman, and above all, be careful with your firearms and other weapons. Adios y que te vaya bien en la casada.
For a free color catalog of the Sceery line of professional game calls, other audio and videotapes, or for information on hunting seminars, phone or write the E.J. Sceery Company in Santa Fe, New Mexico. E.J. Sceery Company, P.O. Box 6520, Santa Fe, New Mexico, 87502-6520, or phone toll free, 1-800-327-4322.